All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Friday Mortgage Coach Mastermind. Every Friday, myself and Todd Bookspan are leading a Friday mastermind of leaders in the mortgage space. Sometimes we bring people outside the mortgage space into this venue. But guys, this is a mastermind. So what that means is your engagement matters. If you have questions, ask questions. If you're watching it in Facebook, chat below is a great place to engage. Put your takeaways, put your questions in there. And we also have a Zoom audience. So for those of you that are in Zoom, give us some feedback. So this is a awesome call because I don't think we've ever had so much star power on one Friday mastermind. What do you think, Todd? It's pretty cool, huh?
Oh, I totally agree. I was super excited when I saw the crew that you had expertly assembled for today. And it's always great to see some great friends here on Zoom.
It is. Well, I'm going to start by introducing Michelle Castle, because Michelle, you are an originator, you are a team leader, you also have a vision, and you coach loan officers. You've got a new platform. Tell everybody real quick, just if they haven't heard from you before, what kind of production you're doing in today's market.
So it looks like we're going to hit about 400 units this year, which is pretty nice. Typically, I hit around a little over three a year. With my personal production team, and then I run an amazing branch, and they do their fair share of business. We do our fair share of business as a team as well. So,
how many loans are you and your team going to close this month?
Close to 60.
Wow! So, guys, make note. You're talking to a mortgage professional that's running a team that's closing 60 loans. She has time to be on this call. If you follow her on Facebook, which you should do, she went on a super cool unscripted adventure with her husband over the weekend. So she's just got a great balance of life, energy, and success. So Michelle, it's an honor to have you active in the mortgage coach community.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Cool. So this conversation came up because Coach Bill Hart, who needs no introduction, we don't need like, hey, Coach, tell us your story. He's so prolific in this industry. But what's up, Coach?
Just hanging out with you guys on Red Shirt Friday. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, well, thank you for always being a beacon of light in the mortgage space. I don't know if you have seen that new special on Netflix yet, the social, what's it called? The Social Dilemma? There's a new Netflix special. Anyways, just making a case that like Facebook can have a bad side to it. It is a must watch for the mortgage coach community. But guys, what Bill Hart does on Facebook is inspirational. It's educational. It's just always the light and always the value, bro. So thank you for all you do in our industry.
My honor, my pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So guys, he had made a post, and then that post led to me commenting on it, which it was from the heart. It led to Michelle Castle commenting on it in a super cool way, and then Rene Rodriquez and Michelle were having a conversation. And I just thought between Bill's post and the conversation that was happening, I posted, hey guys, you want to take this onto our Friday mastermind? Like take this Facebook conversation and put it on a live call, and that's where we're at. So it looks like our buddy Rene Rodriquez is working on some AV issues, so we're not going to introduce him yet.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay. So Rene, what's up, dude? What's
going on? How are you guys?
Yeah, we're good. Rene doesn't need introduction, but if anybody's new to the industry, you've never heard of Rene Rodriquez, this is the man who is the leader behind the leaders. He helps leaders become better leaders, and he helps leaders have more influence through a program called Amplify, which I literally think, Todd, you're the only one who hasn't been through Amplify in this group so far. Is that right?
Yeah, thanks for calling me out on that.
Nice. There's an opportunity coming up, I'll bet.
Wait.
I really like where this is going. This is great.
I haven't been either. So
all right, great. So Michelle and I will be at the next one.
Yeah, COVID happened.
There you go.
So yeah.
Well, you signed up for it, and then you've also been coaching with Rene, which is part of what we're talking about.
I got very, COVID happened, but that was actually to my advantage, actually.
Yeah, no doubt.
So cool.
So there will be an opportunity at some point in the call. Rene is going to be unveiling his virtual Amplify event. And then I'm trying to talk him into doing an in-person Amplify event, a date to be announced later on in this call, in Atlanta. So stay tuned on that. So Bill, let's just start with you describing the post that you put out there, the why behind it, and then let's just have a conversation.
You bet. So, if you know me at all, you know that from time to time I like to shake the tree a little bit and do it with love, right? I like to challenge with love. And what I was recognizing is that, as we've talked about with my, get off my lawn video a while back, everybody's got records. Like, so what? I'm unimpressed by record volume. What I am impressed by is when you build something as a result of that, Michelle, when you take, an amazing weekend in the middle of a 60-unit month, like, come on, that kind of stuff is impressive to me. So it hit me that, wow, if we are actually being commoditized again by this tidal wave of refi demand, then maybe a good challenge to people would be to say, like, who are you? How do you stand out? And so one of the things that I said in this post is, there at the bottom, just think about companies that you deal with as a consumer. And I want you guys to do this right now. What are the companies that draw you in, that draw you toward them? I had an example yesterday, Terry Hefner, Michelle, up in Boise that I coach, an area manager for Guild, good friend. He had hired his second person from Les Schwab. Now, Les Schwab is not all around the country, but they're a tire store of all things. But it's like if Nordstrom and Zappos got together and created a tire store, it'd be Les Schwab, because they train these people in such a way that they run out to the car and they're dressed awesome and they take amazing care of you. And so there's an organization with an incredible ethos where it's like, man, if everything else is equal, and I've got a Les Schwab in town, I'm going there. The same thing with Chick-fil-A or Nordstrom, or, you enter in Disney, you enter in your own organization. So what I was trying to do, Dave, is just kind of shake the tree a little bit and say, who the heck are you? In a world where in our industry, Michelle, you will so identify with this, all of your borrowers, all they see all day long when they're not in the mortgage space is rate. That's all that's advertised. Mm-hmm. It's the only point of input that they know to even discuss. And so, Dave, that's where it started for me. And so I posted a link to the Navy SEAL ethos, because that one is arguably the most powerful described ethos of a group that I've ever seen. But that's where it started.
So I'm going to make a couple comments, and I'm going to hand the baton to Rene Rodriquez. So that really caught my interest, because when I founded Mortgage Coach, I found it on this manifesto that advice was the ultimate value proposition. And as a mortgage professional, I mean, that was my advice makes a difference. And Mortgage Coach was created to prove that, so that I could say that to a client and then I could show them something that backed that up. And I have just, over the years, in the hundreds of top producers that I've interviewed, I've noticed this theme. They're purpose driven. They have this ethos. When you interview Jeremy Forcier, I don't know that he's ever called it ethos. I don't think he's ever written it down, but in his workspace, in handwriting, he's got good people deserve great advice. Yeah. And it's personal to him, and he believes it. Yeah. And that's what gets him to do the work that he does. And then he also knows how to grab that ethos out and actually integrate it into a conversation with a realtor, integrate it into a conversation with a borrower. And so when I saw that, I'm just like, that's what it's all about. I mean, a modern mortgage professional uses technology, but a modern mortgage professional has an ethos. And so I think at this point, I'm going to hand it off to Rene, because he's helped me refine my ethos. I know he's been working with Michelle to help refine, document, create branding, train her from the inside out to harness her ethos. So Rene, I'll let you take it. I'm going to probably give some color at some point in the conversation, but at this point, I'm going to kind of, Rene, Michelle, Bill, you guys take that Facebook conversation and have it. And Todd and I will just chime in a few times throughout.
Thanks, Dave. And thanks for having us here. I mean, this is, I look at and I'm seeing Michelle, Todd, and Bill, people that I love talking to. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And so this was interesting. As Michelle said, it's COVID hit and I lost all my events. And so I had to look at what is a bridge strategy for me. There were no live events. And so I knew that I had to start recreating amplify and getting really good at virtual events. That's why, you know, we invested so heavily in having great quality video and audio and camera, lighting, location, all of those different elements. But I got a few people that said, can you help with brand? And the biggest mistake that I've seen people make is they go, and their first thing that they do when it comes to branding is they go to a graphic designer, or they go to a 99 Designs and think logo. And how do I get logo first? And that was what was my biggest lesson when I recreated my brand. Was I went to a friend of mine who used to run a very large advertiser, was a senior leader at a very large ad firm. And I said to him, I said, what do I do? And this was 2.5, 3 years ago. And he said, the first thing we need to do is create your ethos. And I'm like, wait, hold on a second. I said, I use the word ethos in my Amplify training: ethos, pathos, logos, kairos, telos, all the Greek motivational appeals. What do you mean by ethos? And he said, it's your essence. It's who you are. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like, what does that mean? And I literally battled with him on this concept. And when Bill posted this, I mean, Bill, you captured it perfectly. I mean, literally captured it perfectly. And if you notice when you read Bill's post, how emotional it is and how it really captures number one, what Bill feels about it. I mean, someone else's ethos affecting the reader. And that's really, really, really cool. And so that essence of who we are, it's the feeling, the emotion, the picture, the journey, just all of the little details of who you are in a concise written format. That format then goes into the hands of an experienced designer. You're not going to build your brand with $99. I'm sorry. You're just not going to do that. You're not going to build it with $1,000. It just doesn't work that way. There's too many good people that are needed to understand the essence of who you are. And very few people are willing to invest in that. And so one, I applaud Michelle for saying, I just want to go through the process you went through. And literally I just said, okay, I made 3 phone calls and I handed it over to the team. And I got to tell you, it is probably one of my favorite projects I've done in a long time, Michelle. Like, just getting to know you, number one, was really amazing. And seeing just who you're, so unique in so many ways. And you cannot put your finger in a simple sentence on who Michelle was until we read your ethos. And it was like immediately. Now you'll watch when we get to the process. I want you to pay attention to Michelle's face, because you're going to see, and she's going to try to hide it, but you're going to see that she begins to glow, because it's the essence of who she is. Yeah. And what I want you to do is pay attention to how you feel when we go through the process too. So I want to ask Michelle, because I know that it was a frustrating process in the beginning for you.
Yeah, because you asked me so many questions. Like, wait, that's a hard question. Stop asking me that, because it really, I think part of that journey was very soul searching, because you pulled out information for me that was there, but I didn't really realize was there. And I think really going through that process too, this has just been changing. This has been life-changing for me, because it did require that I spend a lot of time with myself. And also it spent a lot of time asking people just like Bill's question. I mean, like, how do other people see me? Because how other people see me and how I make others feel is different than what I think that, or how I'm seen. So it was certainly a journey that was a healthy journey, I think, for me to go on with you. So I can't thank you enough, because really, I think whenever I called you, Rene, or actually I just messaged you or emailed you or something, not expecting a response at all. And at that time, I was just really searching for some clarity. And the clarity that I have received through this journey has been, like I said, life-changing.
That's awesome. Now, Bill, you can imagine, if you know Michelle, she said it was frustrating, asked me so many questions. She's also the one emailing you books and documents at like 2 a.m. Oh, this is what I was thinking. I got up this morning and I'm staring at my gazebo and this is what I wrote. And we have literally, and when I say we, I have to give a shout out to Josh Bletterman and George Castillo. Mm-hmm. Those 2 creative geniuses I was a quarterback in the process, and I was sort of an overseer. I had, do what I do from a messaging perspective, but those 2 are the ones. And so I just need to point that out there. Mm-hmm. But amount of documents and just the soul searching that you were doing, that's the investment that it takes. And so if you're watching this and you want to rebrand, yes, you can do it on bootstrapping, and I'm all for bootstrapping. I had to do that for a lot of years, and I still am all for that. And then I would also challenge you to say, what's the value of having an understanding of who you are, the value of your customers understanding who you are? Before I did it, people would always say, wow, we love hearing you speak, Rene. It really changed my life. But what do you do, Rene? And Bill probably say the same thing. We've known each other for 15 years, probably.
Yep.
And only in this last year and a half, Bill knows what it is that I do. And I got to say, that's because of the process to go through of saying, who am I? It's not just about I'm good at helping people and I'm a good speaker. There was a lot more to the process, and it isn't easy, but it is so incredibly worth it. Bill, anything you want to add to what you just heard there?
Well, I want to ask a question of Michelle. I'm imagining one of my clients, somebody who's a loan originator, flying as fast as they possibly can right now. You know, I had a guy yesterday, his hot topic for our coaching session was, Coach, what do I do with all this money? Like, I'm not kidding. That was his hot topic, right? Like, he's never made this kind of money. And his legitimate question for me is like, what do I do with it? So my question for you, Michelle, is, I'm a huge Rene Rodriquez fan, and I am thrilled that you guys are working together and that there's something that you're going to reveal here in a few minutes. But I want to bring it back to the, the appeal, right? You're a busy woman running hard. You've got a professional life. You've got a personal life. But at some point, this was enough for you to say, I am willing to invest not just my money, but my time in this. What was it with Rene or just this conversation around Ethos that connected with you that said, oh, I have to do this?
Well, so I was thinking about that this morning. So for me, I'm a huge activator. So when I decide to do something, I just go for it. And then afterwards, and I'm all about the results. And I don't really think about that. I mean, I'm a process and a systems person, but so I really had to think about what was the why and why did I even start this in the first place? But really, it was just a tugging inside of me as to what's next. Like, I can do mortgage loans all day long. I can do them in my sleep. So what is life for me like? I'm almost 50 years old. I love what I do. But there's more to life than just doing mortgage loans. So what is that? And how do I put that into, how do I make sure that I experience more than just mortgage loans, and that I'm able to give more than just a mortgage loan, whether it be use my experience for helping others in other ways. I mean, and really that was it. But how do I do that? And then how do I rebrand myself? Because I'm known as just the mortgage queen. Yep. But how do I take it to that next level and really brand myself to help more people? I feel I can help more people by leveraging my time, by being more effective and very clear about what my message is. And so that's really how that's how it started.
Love that. I love that so much, because I think a lot of people can relate to that. Maybe not everyone, but Rene, I'd love for you to chime in on this as well, because look, one of the conversations that we're all exposed to all the time is Simon Sinek talking about why, Gary Keller talking about the one thing. So I think we've all been exposed to that kind of thinking and challenged, right? That, wow, I need a why, and maybe the why is more than money. I mean, look, if we're honest, most people got into this business because it's a fairly low barrier to entry. Can we just be honest here, right? And you can make unbelievable money, particularly right now. So the why is like one little piece of this. But Rene, I would love for you to speak into that, because it's a big challenge for people, I think, and people watch Simon Sinek and the Apple, talk that he goes through, and it's like, yeah, I need a why. Can you speak to that? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the biggest question. I remember when I first saw it over 10 years ago, I called my mother and I said, I found something that is as important as the brain. When I say in the brain, I started studying 24 years ago. And I said, I'm going to devote the next 10 years of my life to understanding this piece. And it wasn't that it was new, because I understood why. We talked about it before, but it was the sequence. And what I've come to find out is that people love it, but they don't know how to do it. And they don't know how to take it. And, what's great about what he did, it's very similar to a process that we do, but when you combine the concepts and understanding, it requires work to dig further than people think. The money isn't a why, money is a result, right? And so it's a tangible result of something. And I was just actually working with Hitachi on this last week. After they went through our course, they said, we need to redo our why. And people freak out. I have most of my clients are actually outside of mortgage, but they were there, and I had the COO and the president there, and literally redoing their why statements for Hitachi Capital. I mean, this is a global organization. And after an hour and a half to rethink, because their quote unquote why was to be a partner, trusted advisor in with our clients. That's not a why, that's a how. And most people confuse those pieces. But their why came from is we believe that relationships drive loyalty. And what they do is we help you sell more, sell bigger, and sell more profitably. And those were statements that came out of that process that were client focused, right? Because you have this why that a lot of times is internally focused. It's something that's for me, but yet, we're still running a business. And that was sort of the role that I played in this, to say, okay, because Michelle, if you even just everything is the detail and everything in her brand, look at her backdrop. It's her brand. It's who she is. Those glasses are part of her brand. The color shirt is part of the brand. And look at how beautiful her quality video is. All of that stuff is part of the brand of what she's doing. And this process, and it's funny, I helped somebody today, two past clients today, they posted videos that are amazing quality, have this beautiful hook, logo drop in to the message, 60 seconds, done. And I said, okay, you spent 38 seconds with no value of the 60. But I go, you looked great. Everything was there. I go, now you got to work on message. And I played a few of my videos. If you notice, the first words are already in the message. Bill, you do a great job of this. You have this beautiful title, and then you just go right into that message, and it's there. There's no fluff. There's none of that stuff.
You told me we have 7 seconds. What am I going to do?
Yeah, I totally made that one up, right? I wish I could take credit for that. But, there's levels to this. And with Michelle, we were able to work with somebody who already had ethos from a motivational appeal. Ethos, let's talk about what this is. So ethos is 2 different ways of using this, right? When you're speaking, ethos is your credibility and your character. This is something that Aristotle came up with 2,000 years ago, the first person to talk about argumentative thought and persuasion. And he said, the first thing is you have to have ethos. It's who are you? What's your character, but your credibility as well. And so you're not going to take advice on how to lose weight from somebody who's overweight. You're not going to take advice from somebody who's broke on how to make money because they don't have any ethos. Now, what's interesting is that when you get into the advertising and branding world, your ethos is more what Bill was talking about, which is your essence. Who are you? When you read this, I go, oh, I know her, or I know him, or I really like it. It's a honing signal to the world to say, this is who I am. And if you like me, come with me. If you don't like me, get the hell away from me, right? And that's an okay thing to do. And that's what we tell people is your why is a honing signal. And it brings those people that really believe in what you do, and it repels those that don't. And you should want that. And that's the opposite of trying to be everything to everyone. You don't. And so then we say, okay, so what does that mean? Please.
Yeah. Well, no, I feel like there's a bridge here for, again, I try and put myself in the shoes of the viewer or the listener, right? However somebody's consuming this right now. And if there's somebody in the mortgage industry right now not doing Michelle's volume, right? So this is somebody that a year ago, let's say, was doing 6 units and now they're doing 12, or last year they were doing 15 and now they're doing 30, and everybody's running really hard. I feel like what you've created here, Rene, with Michelle, and I'm looking forward to the reveal. Like, I want everybody to see what you guys have created. And I realize this is emotional, Rene, and a lot of guys are going to get choked up over stuff like this. So it's fine. Go ahead and do what you need to do to express that emotion. But my point simply was, sorry, dude, I'm just playing with you. I'm playing with you.
Coughing. I just drank the water on. I was like,
I knew what was happening, and I just thought I'd roll with it. Anyway, my point simply is the bridge between a commodity and relevant. And I talk a lot about building a sustainable business, right? I try and challenge my clients to say, look, we don't know how long this is. Michelle, you know this. It could be It could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, right, with these low rates. But we know there's this amazing purchase market that's developing and evolving right behind it. And if I'm not relevant, if I haven't figured out a way to differentiate myself in a very crowded space where everybody screams about rate, then I'm not going to be sustainable. And I think what you've done with Michelle, although she would have had a sustainable business anyway, is you've just logarithmically upgraded what the message that she's putting out, obviously, to the public. And man, I don't want to wait much longer. Like, I want to see it.
Well, what she did, she found her joy in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Love
it was.
that.
Yeah.
She found her joy. That was where we began. Was she's like, I know how to do this. I can close my eyes and close 50 loans, but I want to be happy again.
Yeah.
And
Right on.
that, to how you use, that's the logarithmic exponential value of doing something like this.
Yeah.
And
So,
please.
well, so to Bill's point, the tactic part of it, and I think the part of it that really I'll never, ever forget, and I use this on my coaching students all the time, is to really pause and look at your day, look at your week. And Rene, when you made me really write down and keep a list of all the things that I do, what are I have my joy list, I have my things that I like to do, and I have the things that whenever I do them, it puts me in a bad mood to do them. And I think from a tactic standpoint, to be in joy and be in love with what you do, you've got to get really clear about what it is that you truly love to do.
Totally.
And it's hard to do when you're this busy because you're so exhausted that you almost feel like you don't like any of it.
Totally.
But that's not true whenever you really take the time to really think through your day. Okay, what did I just do and how did it make me feel?
Nice.
I
But-
love
So
that.
I mean,
great.
that was
so
part
everybody
of that.
needs to listen to Michelle right there. Like, seriously, guys, I know you're not doing that right now. You're too busy. You're too busy. But look, you've already invested in the call. You're listening to Rene and Michelle on a very specific example that's not yours, but she's in the industry, right? You can learn from this. Be challenged right now. Like that little bit of discomfort that you feel right now, lean into it and do that exercise and start looking for what brings you joy, what brings you energy, and what sucks energy away from you. And so what did you do with that experience? What came as a result of that?
Well, it's crazy. Some of the little things that you don't really recognize that really sucks that energy out of you. So at that point, is it that I need to do it differently? Do I need to change my attitude towards it? Or do I need to delegate it to someone else?
Nice.
We do a lot of, I think that's part of that whole decision-making process. Is there somebody else that could do what I'm doing that I totally hate doing that really enjoys it? And if so, do we need to swap some roles? Some of the little things that Rene had me do were just so aha, but it really helped bring the joy back into what I do and help me focus on the why.
Rene, I love that so much because that is just that is the ultimate. What did you call that in NLP? What's the shift?
Reframe?
No, it's the pattern interrupt. That's the ultimate pattern interrupt, right? Right now in the mortgage space is to actually step back from the chaos, step away from the conveyor belt that is just running so fast, because it is, you guys. It is. I mean, people are being chewed up and spit out right now, and they're not spending time with their families, and they're not working out, and they're not taking care of themselves. So to do this exercise, when did you do this, Michelle?
This was April. It was about April, wasn't it, Rene?
Yeah, it was right when it started, March, right, end of March, starting April.
So I compliment you even more for that, because now we're kind of in an established bizarre period in history. But back then it was like, holy cow, like, what does this even look like? We don't know. So for you to have done that then is even more impressive to me. So then what? Then what came from that, Rene?
So once we went through that, that's when, I asked her what she wanted to do, and do you want to do a full rebrand? And that's when I said, okay, there's a bigger team that's needed here. And so that's when we brought in Josh Bletterman and George Castillo. And the first step was to work with Josh to do what's called an ethos exploration. And that's what I can show you right now.
Nice.
And when I first went through this, I saw it and I spent several $1,000s going through this. And I'm like, first you get on the phone with this guy and he's like, hey man, what's up? It's like, all right. He goes, tell me about you. I'm like, where do I start? He goes, anywhere. And he's just this happy, beautiful human. And I remember I put my head down and I put my head up about an hour and a half later. I'm like, are you recording, taking notes on this? And he goes, it's all good, brother. Just keep going. And now this guy's done this for some of the world's largest brands. Like, I mean, this guy's legit. And he goes, all right, man. After about 3 hours, he goes, I'm going to go paint for a while. I'll be back to you in a couple of days. I'm like, I still don't know what the hell's going on. And I come back and he gives me this 3-page document, and out of it came words like neuro innovator, neuro innovation. And things like Rene's impact doesn't leave the room when he does. And it's like this language. I'm like, whoa, okay, hold on a second. Fluff is not enough. Rene's success metric is not applause, it's results. All of the things that are like, so like, I've always wanted to say that, and I say it in sort of roundabout ways.
Sure.
And he just goes and puts it like that. And so Michelle's, I'm going to show hers right now. And it starts off with a narrative, right? This is a 9-page document, and I'm going to read it. Okay. I'm going to kind of color commentate on it, but this is her brand identity excursion, sort of her ethos exploration. So connecting with Michelle Castle is like rolling into your favorite coastal town. From the moment you meet her, you catch a warm breeze on your neck, that first inhalation of life-giving salty air, color, magnetism pulls you in. Your body begins to decompress because you know she's got you covered in every dimension. Communicative and nurturing like a dolphin, yet equipped with 2 rows of focused and driven shark's teeth. Think about that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Doesn't that give you tingles? I mean, it's amazing because this is
all
the
kinds
business.
of images and emotions going on right now.
And that's the business side of her. She's nurturing like a dolphin because you see her and you see that, beautiful face. And then, but when it comes to business, she's got rows of shark's teeth. Her team's numbers speak for themselves. Y'all going to eat. This is kind of how he talks, meaning let's not worry about the money. She's going to teach you all that stuff. But it's the clarity, reflection, and transparency she elicits in you that Michelle uses as the most reliable metric of her hydroelectricity. Now, water is a critical element for her.
Sure.
If you were to see her face right now,
Yeah.
and in fact, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. I don't know how I can do this here, just so we can see look at her. She's just look at that big smile.
Totally.
Like when you hear those words, we're really not even halfway through, Michelle. How are you feeling when you hear that stuff?
Well, it's just the strangest thing for someone to be in your brain like that. I mean, it's just crazy. Because it's just, I could have never put those words together, but it's just the feeling of someone understanding and given such clarity to what's here and
So
here.
cool.
And that's what your brand should do for you. Exactly that.
Totally.
So I'll keep reading. Like a bird circling overhead, she looks at things holistically with an elevated perspective and always returns home to the nest. As the sun sets in your time together, you're left uplifted, fulfilled, and present with just the right amount of sand between your toes. So this is her event that she's putting together. So this is what she wants people to feel as a result of that. And now it goes into some summit language exploration. So sit still by the water, don't do anything, and in doing so, find everything. Welcome to Castle on the Coast. And this was the title of her event, her retreat that came out of this, or Welcome to Castle on the Coast. So day 1, reflection. So this is now they're getting into what does day 1, day 2, day 3 feel like? Day 1, reflection. Go ahead, dip a toe in, just cold enough to remind you that you're alive and capable of being surprised. Then go up to the ankle and look between your feet. There you are. Do you like what you see? Day 2, recalibration. A yoga-induced existence buzz and belly full of freshest local catch is the ideal backdrop for true gratitude. We're blessed, ain't we? Let's build on that foundation with waterproof practices we execute on every single day. Rejuvenation, day 3. You got up early today, smiling uncontrollably at the morning sun dancing on the water. You're in the zone. Just then, you get a pang of worry. Will this buzz go away? Why can't every day feel like this? It can, and here's how. And so now we go into all of these things that just are things that woke up in the middle of the night thinking, getting over the fear of death, bankruptcy, foreclosures, lumps or lessons. Are they lumps or lessons, right? And you go through all of this stuff. And even then, Michelle looked at us and was like, so what the heck do I do with all this now, right? what is it that I'm supposed to do with, I just lost my, sorry guys, lost my thing that says where I can, okay, there we go. She's like, what do I do with this? And so now this is where I started getting excited. And this is where you bring in the next team person, the graphic people, because the graphic designers, these guys are all artists. They need language, they need emotion. And what ends up happening is you typically start with the graphic designer and you say, well, I kind of want it to feel professional, and, I kind of want it to look cool, and I want it, and this is, and we do it the best of our ability, but that's not our work. So I'm good at it, but it's not my work either. You bring in the pros to write like that. That's copywriting. That's real, legit copywriting. And to listen to that. And then you give it to a graphic designer. We gave it to George Castillo, and he looks at this and goes, I'll be back, right? And then he does that. And then not only does he do this, he jumps on our social media and he starts hounding and looking at the deep posts of the ones that happen at 3 a.m. and all those different elements start coming together and presents back the first draft. And she's like, how did you know about that gazebo? He goes, well, I saw you wake up one morning and you posted about, that's the first thing you see on your cabin, which is where you're most happy. And somehow this little image of a gazebo ended up in the brand. And the shark's teeth and the water and all of these things elements start coming together to build this. And if you're ready, you want to say anything, or I can just show it to you.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. And here we are. So what you find here obviously is a big water element. And this little gazebo here is that piece. And Michelle, do you want to explain where this came, like what this meant to you and how you felt when he surprised you with that?
So Renee's right. My lake house is like my happy place. I go there whenever I really just want to be. I just want to sit and think and write and read. And so I have a favorite rocking chair on the back porch that overlooks the cove and the lake and the trees, and water and trees are so important to me. And so there's a gazebo at the end of the cove. And when I am drinking my cup of coffee or I'm writing or I'm reading, that's really my focal point. And you see people, kayaking and boating and sailing all by the gazebo, but that's like, it's almost like the lighthouse that I see. And when I'm gazing out to the water, it's always there. So whenever I post, and I've never really noticed that, and whenever I post pictures sitting there encouraging people to take the time to think and be and just listen, read, and write, that is always in the background. And George caught that and noticed that it's always in the background of my pictures. So it was really, I know he could tell when my face lit up when I saw that gazebo sitting there. So.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you should. It was amazing. I mean, just the emotion, and of course the ripples of the ideas sort of expanding beyond. And so, very simple brand. So they get into it, and then they write about it at Michelle. And this is the write up connecting with Michelle. Is like your favorite coastal town. That's what we did. And so it's her perspective, etc. And then the language is live a life you love. And you can see the waters and the ripples and everything sort of expanding from that. And then you get the logo type, what it looks like on the brand. And then you get her symbol. While main logo type is preferred, an option to showcase identity, my symbol may be used in cases where space is limited, usually seen in social media. So you just see it right here. Very simple use. And of course, the colors represent the coastal town. Primary colors considered familiar and learned colors of public image and cohesive and recognizable throughout all mediums. And of course, displaying the solids and et cetera, all that stuff. And then the supporting elements of how to use the graphic water. And then of course, her fonts, very simple stuff, what it looks like on letterhead and workbooks and everything. And so then we got into the Castle on the Coast branding, which, follows a very coastal brand and coastal font choices and color choices and everything. And now you just see it like this, and that's all you need to know. And if you notice, within that is an M for Michelle in there as well. So George loves to use a lot of negative space, as you can tell with my Neuro logo. You can see with the Neuro logo, he uses negative space as well. So, yeah, that's it.
So impressive.
Boom. Wow. I don't know if, what people are thinking as they see this, but you can't help but be wowed by the amount of thought that went into this. And Michelle, congratulations. I mean, you have obviously reached a major pinnacle as a mortgage professional. When you put your mind to it and said, "Hey, I'm gonna adopt Mortgage Coach and become a leader in the mortgage coach community," you've done that, and now you've got a super cool event that a lot of people know about, and it's incredibly well done. I just can't help but be inspired by what you guys have done together, Rene and Michelle.
Thank you.
So what's interesting to me, Dave, and I wonder how.
Sorry.
It's okay, man. I love
Pattern break.
I love the stuff you've created. Yeah. But I just have to respond to this because this is corporate level solutions. This is corporate level solutions. And so again, while I don't want to pull the bar down, but I want to communicate with the masses, Dave, because there's so many people on the call right now that I'm sure are thinking, wow, like this is so beyond me, and I don't even know what that investment was, but I know it had to have been significant, and holy cow, I can't imagine that. But I'm telling you, I'm running through my head a number of clients right now that absolutely should be looking at this right now, because what we're looking at in coaching is, what is that next level? What does that next chapter look like? So very much like what you've been going through, Michelle. And I think a lot of that happens when you've built something like you've built. You've built a $1 million machine, a multi-million-dollar machine, and that's worthy of this kind of effort and branding. And I guess, Dave, that the hunger that I feel, and Rene, is I want to help everybody. I want to make sure that people take enough encouragement and data and challenge from this call, right, that they start looking at what they can do. And what I thought I would do, Dave, and I'm not even sure, do we go till the top of the hour? Is that right?
I think you go about another 5
That is
10 minutes.
right, and we can go a little over because this is so good.
Okay, well, all I was going to say, and Rene and Michelle, I still want you guys to chime in on this, but I had made a list of people that I know in the mortgage industry that I've either coached or followed, that I know that I think are sticking their toe in this water. Nothing like Michelle has done for the vast majority of them. Some of them have done a really great job, but I want to challenge people and encourage them a little bit, Rene. So is that okay with you guys if I just go through some quick examples of people that I think are doing a pretty good job in this arena?
And just so you know, the investment is no more than probably the commissions of 2 loans.
Good.
Right?
Perfect.
It's not, I mean, this is a $50,000 typical agency process,
Yep.
if not more.
Yep.
But, it doesn't have to be that.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. And I think that there's an enormous market for this. I mean, goodness sakes, you guys, if I've got people reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, coach, what do I do with the money?"
Exactly.
This is what you do with the money.
This
Yes.
is time that
Right.
you use that money to invest in
Totally.
yourself to build a foundation.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
it goes on forever. Yep.
Or
Well,
you
by the
could
way,
buy
Bill, I wanna-
depreciating assets.
I want to jump in on 2 things, because I do think there's growing yourself from the outside in and a brand, and there's building a brand from the inside out.
Yeah,
And I just want to make sure, well, I don't know the exact investment Michelle made, but let's just say it was $8,000 or 10, whatever it was. You figure out a budget that you're going to do from the outside. What are you going to do? And you can build a pretty amazing brand for less than $1,000 with the right intention and thought. But this is, just like Zoom, there's bad and good. Bad is no thought into your branding. And then there's good where, maybe you used something a little better than 99 Designs. And then there's great. And then there's wow. And what you just saw is wow. This is, as a mortgage professional, building out a brand event, this is the wow level. But there's a good level and there's a great level. But I want to make sure, Rene, we have time and we save at least 5 minutes. We can go over, but I want to talk about Amplify, where you're growing yourself from the inside out. And I do want to make sure in the last 5 minutes, we tell them what you're doing, Rene, around growing you're amplifying your brand from the inside out. So
Sure.
Bill, you got about 10 minutes to go down this rabbit trail.
Cool.
And then I'm going to break it and wrap it up around inside out.
So I want you, if you're on this call right now, I want you to think about, I'm going to start with me, and this is going to sound very self-serving, but Rene called it out with Michelle. When you think about her colors, her glasses, the background, I want you to think about all of those issues with me right now. There's a reason that I'm sitting over to one side. It's called the rule of thirds in terms of framing. There's a reason that my background is a corner. There's a reason that there's a P-51 behind me. There's a reason that there's a signed picture of an F-15 from the Texas Air National Guard. There's a reason that there are books on my shelves. There's a reason I'm wearing a red shirt today. Remember, everyone deployed Red Shirt Friday. So my hope is what comes to you when you think of Bill Hart is experienced coach, Rene, 16,000 hours in the coach's chair, right? There's a lot of coaches. There's a lot of coaches in the mortgage industry right now. And I would think that, and there are a lot of great coaches. I don't mean to say that to diminish anybody, but my space, the space that I occupy is experience, the gray hair, right? Been here for a long time. So patriot, experience, leadership, all in. My hope is those are the things that occur to you when you think about Bill's ethos. Daniel Harkavy, say again?
Your ethos screams. I mean, it's beautiful.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. And I got to tell you, none of this has been deliberate. It's been organic for me. Like I just figured out one day that this is who I am, and I'm just going to shine a light on it and not apologize for it. And that's so I sort of unintentionally stumbled into this with a lot of encouragement from you, by the way, in shaping as I've gone through Amplify. Really helpful for me to be able to connect my message to my heart. It's my name, for God's sakes. I mean, what would I do if my name was Lipschitz? Come on, what are you going to do there? Anyway, so another example, Daniel Harkavy, the founder of Building Champions. I think when you think of Daniel, if you know him at all, you know that this is a man of integrity, like uncompromised integrity and leadership. You know, for God's sakes, he's coaching the CEO of Daimler, the German conglomerate parent company of Mercedes and Chrysler. You know, he's hanging out with Frank Blake, the former CEO of Home Depot, and currently serving on the board of directors of Delta Airlines. So, you know, my hope is that's who you think of there. When you think of Nicole Ruth with Fairway in Denver, doing similar volume, by the way, Michelle. You know, she's an investor. She's an investor herself. I think she probably owns about 30 doors is how she puts it right now. But that's her entire focus right now. Everything that she puts out into social or with events that she does, it's all built around that. You think about Josh Metal, of course, in the Physician Home Loans, Denise Donahue with the Mortgage Nerd, her glasses that I don't even think have glass in them, right? They're just, it's her brand is the Mortgage Nerd. She was a financial planner before she became a mortgage professional. So she geeks out on numbers, and that's her thing. Now, when you combine that with her beauty and her brilliance, it's like, oh my goodness, what a strong ethos. Sean Herrero, you guys, and if you're not following these people, make sure you do. Sean Herrero was a marketing guy who became a mortgage lender. He calls himself the adventure lender. And his whole message is boldness. He's got full sleeve tats, no apologies about it. He's a rock climber, spear fisherman. He's got a Mercedes Sprinter van that he converted into a mobile office, who creates brilliant video. And he's got these latest campaigns right now where he's holding up cardboard signs saying, hey guys, VA loans are just as good as regular loans, and here's why. Jimmy Versalino in Phoenix, I just spoke to this morning, a Marine. He is squared away. He is capable. That's his ethos. Dan Keller, for goodness sakes, talks about the fact that he's a former baseball coach. Impossible to lose that because he has an American flag behind him that is made of baseballs. It's framed behind him. It is constantly part of his messaging. And that guy is an authority and an educator. And so, you know, these are just examples that I think many of us know, but Rene, I just wanted to throw some of those out to encourage people to follow them, to begin looking for, you know, what is it that separates you that's already a part of you? Just as you pulled that out of Michelle, even if you guys don't go down that path, I want to challenge you as a coach to say, you are more than a person that knows how to set up a loan, pre-underwrite, talk to people about, but it's so much more than that, you guys. Figure out what you're passionate about, who you are, your education, your background, what you did before, what you love, and connect that and you'll become the most interesting person in your market who starts drawing people towards you like gravitational pull.
I love that, Bill.
That was
That's so
amazing. Good. That was amazing, guys. So I'm going to, one, have that cut up marketing team. Let's make that a little highlight. Two, if anybody's listening to this and you want to share the links to those professionals down below, do that, or someone on my team will do that. So if you're watching this in our Facebook group, we're just going to make it so you could just click and check out these folks. So a couple things that I saw as trends when I was hearing those names, because I know every single one of them. I think every single one of them uses Mortgage Coach.
Totally. Not a coincidence, by the way.
Not saying anything there, but they're advisors.
Okay.
A good deal of them have been through Amplify. They invest in themselves. They understand the value of a coach, and they're leaders. So Todd and I are going to be announcing next week an event that we're putting on. It's just a one-day event called the Modern Mortgage Summit.
Nice.
It's only going to be an investment of $100. Rene Rodriquez is going to be our MC. So stay tuned for that. I mean, it's going to be the biggest no-brainer ever. We've already had a couple big lenders say that, hey, we're buying tickets for all of our loan officers. So, just stay tuned. It's coming soon. But that got Rene and I talking that, hey, Rene is already going to be flying into Atlanta. So we're actually going to broadcast this live out of a broadcast facility in Atlanta, Georgia. It's the same place where Sales Mastery was filmed. And Rene and I were both out there together recording our session for that. So Rene, I'm trying to talk Rene into doing an he's announcing, you'll see in the weeks to come, Amplify Virtual, but I'm trying to talk Rene into doing Amplify Live a couple days before the event in live. So I want to make sure anybody who's watching this live or you're watching the recording, you get to know what Amplify Live is. And we only going to have 10 seats. I've already had a couple people say they want to do it, Rene.
Cool.
Now, so Rene, why don't you tell people what Amplify Virtual, Amplify Live is, and then let's see if anybody wants to meet us in Atlanta next week, or not next week, next month.
Sure. So Amplify in person or Amplify Live was where we put together 10 people in a room, and I can post some of the videos. Go to amplifymylife.com. You'll see them there. But it is a transformational process. This is something that we do it in what's called a co-learning experience. And when we say co-learning, it's 10 people doing this as a group. It's an individual experience done as a group where we make it very, I would say intense is one of the words. Intensity is one of my core driving values in terms of if we're going to do something, we're going to do it intensely. We're going to do it full bore. I don't like things that take a year long, even though some things do take that. We're going to put you up there and give you real-time feedback on stage, but we're going to teach you how to tell your story, develop your ethos, your core story, who is it that you are, but then being able to tell it. And that's where we started working with Michelle was she said, I want to do this. I said, okay, let's develop that story. Let's create that one piece. Yep. GP, we got, GP's actually, yep. We'll talk about GP, but being able to tell that story in a way that you get real-time feedback. And I'm saying if you're umming and ahhing 3 times, we just stop, build self-awareness about that and put you back on stage. And you start with ums and all of a sudden the stress comes to the surface, and we build stress in and we manufacture stressful environments for a very real reason. That reveals our quirks. It reveals our tendencies, right? And so once we do that, we fix that. And then by the time you're finished, somebody could spill a coffee on your laptop. You're cleaning your coffee and your laptop as you're on message. It doesn't bother you anymore. It's no different than the military teaching you how to shoot with guns firing and bombs going off. You don't want to learn how to shoot in a quiet place with somebody giving you a massage and it's air conditioned with Mozart playing. That's not how you want to learn. You want to learn in the bad stuff, right? Because that's what it's going to be like. And that's the same way you want to learn how to speak. And so Amplify Virtual has been a 6-month process now. It was literally something people say, you got to do it. And they said, can you just start the process? And I was like, there was so much expectation of how the live event went and the transformation. And there were so many elements that required me to be live, at least I thought. And through the use of technology, practice, over 200 events in the last 5 months that I've done, 200 to learn what can I do to crawl through that screen and create that stressful moment, create the accountability, and get people from multitasking on screen to be fully engaged we discovered how to do that. In fact, Dave, I haven't released this video, but I do have a 60-second version of that if you want to see it. I have it ready if you want to show it.
Yeah, well, I would love for you to show it. Before we do that, I just want to tell folks, if you have not achieved a level of success from the inside out, you shouldn't start from the outside. Like you can't even create your ethos and your brand if you haven't connected with the heart. So I personally believe amplify. And if you listen to some of the videos, the testimonials of anybody that's been to it, it is the most transformational leadership event I've ever been to. Not only did I get connected to my why better, but I got better at communicating it. And I'm not saying this to sell Mortgage Coach, because most of you on this community already do, but if you're not giving every family more than a rate, a payment, and cash to close, if you're not showing families and vision casting their future when they get a mortgage, if you're not doing these things from the inside out, don't go spend a bunch of money on a marketer. You know, first of all, you'll probably get it wrong. You probably won't tell them, you know, give them the right direction. And then two, you won't be able to deliver that service, you know, based off the marketing. So you got to start, like, I would say you have to have a certain level of mortgage success to go and do what Michelle did. You know, I don't know if it's 100 units a year, but it's like where that money is not stressful. It's just a strategic decision that you're investing. And then you have to also be a modern mortgage professional. You need to be using your CRM. You need to be using Mortgage Coach. You need to be using HomeBot. But guys, you whether you go through Amplify virtual or you're going to Amplify live, you got to go through Amplify, and you've got to really grow from the inside out before you start working on your outside.
Dave, I'm
so
going to parrot that.
Oh,
well, just before he shows the video, I want to explain the do this sign. Great shout out to GP. That was not my intention. Client that I coach, GP Terrio, that's his tag all the time, right? Is do this, who also went through Amplify. What I was saying, Rene, is do this. Like I want people who are connected right now, they need to look at Amplify. I've had enough clients go through this, and I've been through it personally. And you know, I told you, I said, look, man, I've been speaking for 30 years, but Rene, no kid gloves, like no softballs for Bill Hart. I want you to bring it to me. And you did, and you made me a better communicator as a result. And I'm so thankful. And so I'm not kidding. And look, I don't get a commission on this, you guys. I'm just saying, you need to go through this, because this is the very experience, to Dave's point, that will help you to connect to who you are. Start this process from the inside out, then start taking a look at something as sophisticated that Michelle has done. But this is something you can all do, and I would encourage you to run towards it. So that's all I wanted to follow up with on that, Dave. They need to do it.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And from you guys, I mean, it means the world. This has been a 20-some year journey, and it's fun when it comes together. So I'll give you the quick frame on this video. And so the challenge, and this is a lesson, whether you go through Amplify or not, this is a Zoom lesson. This is a virtual lesson. We want to create trust and attention. That's the battle we're in, right? And if you're dealing with clients, you got to be able to create trust. And trust is about facial expressions, eyes, being able to see my hands. All of those things are creating trust. But the other piece is, if I'm going to do a learning experience, I've got to capture your attention. And now there's a neurological formula for attention. It's 2 neurotransmitters, okay? 2 that you've probably heard about. The first one is dopamine. So what creates dopamine? Dopamine is created through things that are novel, right? So this little thing, if you haven't seen me use my brain before, that's like, oh, that's new. That triggers a sense of dopamine because it is novel. It is new, it's unique. And once I create novelty, I've got to figure out some way of creating tension, right? And so how do I create novelty and attention? And so one of the things we do, if you're telling a story, is we might do where we scream through and you see that, oh, man, it just might kind of catches you off guard and you feel that cold chill down your back. And if I have novelty and tension, I create attention. Novelty is dopamine, tension is norepinephrine. Norepinephrine, dopamine create attention. And so the way we structured this course was, how can we constantly create that formula? And it's 5 sessions over 2 weeks, 18 hours of time that you're in this process with some learning in a group. We can only have 9, myself plus 9 people, because that's how we've done it. But here's the short little video. And what you're going to notice, this is Andy Burton, who's one of the top producers at Waterstone. where he did this and he brought in his top real estate agents. And so what you're going to notice is we bring him up on stage to introduce himself. And he begins like most of us do with the ums and ahs. And when people do the ums and ahs, they hear this from me. And that's going to create the tension because you don't know when that's going to happen. The same way when Dave says, I got to create the one for Dave, right? And so that's the stuff that creates that tension. So he gets up there, he ums and ahs, we pull him off stage. See, that's the thing that Zoom doesn't allow you to do, is I can't control your user experience. You control that. But using a different technology, I can control what you see, and then I can throw you on stage. And if you're messing up, I can pull you off stage, and then you don't know if I'm going to throw you on stage. And that creates that feeling, but you're going to be ready for anything. And so here's the short little video. It's just 60 seconds. We're going to start right away, and I'm going to see who's first. Andy, why don't you introduce yourself and what makes you unique?
Is that what you're saying? So, okay.
So now,
Hey, Rene.
Andy, I'm going to pull you off stage.
Rene, real quick, stop it real quick. I want to show you how to play it better.
What's that?
Stop it real quick.
Sure.
I want you to click share screen, but before you actually click share screen, at the bottom,
it wasn't optimized. I apologize.
Make
my
sure
bad.
you optimize the video. And everybody,
My bad.
there's a little wow trick that we're teaching you guys right now. And I actually play videos in the sales process so that when you share the screen, you pick the video, there's a couple buttons at the bottom to optimize the sound so that literally it is broadcasting that video on using the sound of your screen. So make sure you guys do that. You learn from Rene here. And then Rene, why don't you go ahead and play that?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I had it clicked and I unclicked it to get off, but my bad. Thank you for catching that. That is critical. Here it is. Sorry, guys. I'm going to start this over. So if you notice, this is the main stage, and we have the 9 people off to the right here. And I can pull you on stage and off stage at any time. We're going to start right away, and I'm going to see who's first. Andy, why don't you introduce yourself and what makes you unique?
Is that what you're saying? So,
Sure.
Okay.
So now,
Cool.
see, he's already 2 ums in. So Andy, I'm going to pull you off stage for a minute. So now, this is how this works. That's the time that you have to be able to influence. And if someone says, hey, Johnny, tell us about you. Well, I'm thinking that everybody knows you weren't ready. This was your first time. And so we are going to up the intensity of this next 45 minutes to be able to address these things. And every time I hear you say, you're going to hear that. And if you're absolutely bombing, I've got another one that's in store for you. And we're just going to pull you off, pull you back on stage. And so I want you to have fun with it. This isn't about shame. This isn't about failure. This is about creating self-awareness in real time.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's fun. We've done so many practice sessions on this thing. We've got, and Dave, I got to tell you and share with you, we had one person that went through and did this for a different group, and they went on the first time, and he had this big window, sun coming in the window. He had glasses that you couldn't see through, so it looked like he was just reflection. His audio was horrible, and we went through an hour and a half with him, and the next day he sends me a video. And I got to tell you, I was in tears watching not only just the quality. He didn't change his camera. He didn't everything. He just fixed a couple little things. But the way he told his story, I've never seen such a fast transformation. And that's when it told me we're on the right track with this virtual event, is that we still can create those massive transformations. It doesn't replace live because the skill sets for live apply in a live environment. But the virtual environment's not going to go away. Even if it's 50% of what we do going forward, it's still 50% of what you do going forward. And you're going to have to be able to master it. And so we are going to fast forward for you months, if not years of learning in just a couple hours so that you can be ready for this new world that we're all facing. I would love to have you. And it's actually amplifymylife.com.
So we're going to put a link down below. Now, Rene, if anyone wants to sign up or be on the list to be considered for because it's I'm inviting a few people to it, or I'm approving because I want it to be a mortgage coach group. Like Amplify, Rene brings people from all walks of life that go to his general Amplify session. But if people want to do the live session in Atlanta next month, is it the same link or is there a different direction?
I'm going to, right after this, I'll make the link for that. You've convinced me.
All right. And then what's your email? If someone just has a problem and they want to email you, what's the best way?
Rene@meetrene.com.
Okay. And if for whatever reason you want to get some questions answered, you can email me at Dave at Mortgage Coach. You can comment down below. Guys, this call has been amazing. Michelle, any final words you have as we wrap up this call?
Well, I want to thank Rene. This has been an amazing journey, and I might get teary-eyed, but just being on this journey and really learning there is more to the mortgage life. And this time last year, I seriously was thinking, okay, what is my retirement or my exit strategy? Because mortgage loans, it's easy. It's not a challenge anymore. And though I enjoy what I'm doing, it doesn't bring me big joy. And I can honestly tell you now what we've put together, I can see myself doing till I'm 95 years old. I just really found the joy in it all again. So thank you. George has been great to work with. Oh my gosh, the creativity out of George and Josh. And I got to go see Josh because he's just so flipping cool. And the fact that he could put into words all these things that I was trying to put into words myself has just been huge. So thank you both. And Dave, honestly, without Mortgage Coach Productivity Group, I would not know any of these guys and all these folks that you've connected me with. So I can't thank you enough about the software is amazing, and it's allowing us to show people how they can really pay off debt, put money in their pocket, make a smart investment. But more than anything, this culture that you have put together is like none other. So thank you for all you put into this group that we're all in. So,
it is just my joy. I get so much passion, and seeing your success and what you've got from this crew that we have together, it makes it all worthwhile. So that's the other thing, guys. You heard a brand, a product, an event. We'll make sure there's a link down below for that. So if you resonate with that and you want to learn from a dolphin with shark's teeth that's closing over 60 loans, then you found your person. Make sure you follow up with Michelle, and there'll be a link down below to connect. So Todd, I know we're a few minutes over, but you've been sitting on the sidelines. Todd is the founder of Win by Noon. He is the one putting on this modern mortgage summit. Todd, what would be your final closing thoughts to wrap up today's mastermind?
Well, I think we had such a gift from Bill, Rene, and Michelle. I'm so grateful for you guys all showing up. And, I loved it because when we did our 200th mastermind call, you thanked everyone who took action. And I think that that's really my encouragement to all of you, right? There's something that you need to do after watching this call, after investing an hour, whether it was live or on video. And I think you need to take action, right? Go check out Amplify, go check out Michelle's website, Castle on the Coast, and definitely be on the lookout for our modern mortgage summit coming up. That's going to be awesome. I
So excited about that.
See you guys in Atlanta live.
All right, guys, this call is a wrap. I'm not going to apologize for going over, because if you're here, you're engaged, you got value, and having this crew and this value of this call, I just feel energized. It gave me energy through the day. So if you got value, give us a like, share it with your mortgage team. If you watch something on here and you're like, oh, I know someone that needs to go to Amplify, I know someone that needs to connect, forward the video of this. It'll be in our YouTube channel within a couple hours. And thanks for always tuning in and giving your attention to Mortgage Coach. We appreciate you. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. It was a blast.
Boom.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Michelle. Love you guys.
thank you. Bye.